what made you though go to the team format right away? Like, was there the need for the help on showings, or was it just, because 2013, that was the new thing. I shouldn't say new thing, but that was the thing, right? Build a team, go get buyer's agents, right? For you, was it out of necessity, or was it just, hey, I wanted to kind of create this or keep this lifestyle that I was living where I didn't have to do nights, weekends, those types of things?
Yeah, it's funny because Ryan is the one that I was like, oh man, he's got this going. He's got this team. And I remember back when that market crashed, because I did a lot of short sales too.
Hmm.
And Chase reached out and wanted me to run a team of short sale negotiators here in Columbus. I was like, I'm not going to work for anyone. I'm not doing corporate stuff. And I ended up doing it for about a year though. And it was awful, absolutely awful. I knew what I was doing. It felt good to like lead a team on short sales because I knew that inside and out. So
Hmm.
that part was fun, but reporting to someone and that whole corporate stuff, it was awful. Like you have 30 minutes for lunch. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Well,
Yeah.
especially after being, your own boss for,
Yeah.
that long,
Yeah. So when that market was down so much, I was like, okay, I'll help you on short sales for a while because my business was down so much. And I remember I talked to Tom Conley and I had a closing at lunchtime at Chase. I went to a closing for my lunch break and I ran into Tom Conley at the title company. And we haven't seen each other at the time for, I think it was a few years. So, we caught up and he was telling me about Ryan. He's got a team and all these leads coming in. So immediately I called Ryan and set up an appointment and came into his office over there off Lozelle there when you guys were over there.
Yeah.
And he just showed me what he was doing and I was hooked. I was like, this is what we got to do. So just seeing someone leverage their time like he did or does was just the biggest light bulb in my head. Because I knew about teams, but
Yeah.
sitting there with Ryan, looking at the TV with all these leads and all this, Boomtown and all this stuff, I was like, oh man. Because I was a solo agent up until then and did nothing but REOs.
Yeah.
So it always had so many extra leads just off all my listings. So that's why I was looking into the team thing, and I was just hooked after seeing Ryan.
Yeah. It's one of those things that, he's always taught me of, designing your business today where you want it to be 10 years out, and a lot of times agents get to year 9 and then they start to try to do what they were meaning to do this whole time. Right.
Yeah.
And I don't think any of us get into the business to have a job. I think we get into the business because it can bring us freedom, flexibility, and the money piece, right? If you set it up the right way.
Yeah.
It's hard to make all of the money if you're an individual agent because you have no freedom and flexibility, right? You're working your clients. And then if you have too much freedom and flexibility, you're not making the money, right? So
I can't go on vacations. I can't do anything. And it literally was so stressful because my bank account was great. And when I was married at the time, she's like, let's do vacations and whatnot. And I felt so bad. I was like, I can't leave the business because my phone nonstop every day with all the banks and stuff, which was a good thing. It was awesome. And I remember I was driving around in my car and I didn't have time to deposit all my commission checks. So I started stockpiling them in my glove compartment. And I had, I can't even remember the number now. It was 50-some thousand in checks in my glove box. And I was like, I don't have time to go to the bank. And so that part was good, but I had no life whatsoever.
Yeah.
And that hurt me pretty good.
Yeah.
But the leverage is the biggest thing. And the other downfall that I look back on, sorry, I'm jumping all over the place. My mind's just going crazy with the past. I remember the huge downfall to RDOs, which I still do. I love them. That is my baby still. There's not many out there, but
right.
you can't build a database because you represent the banks. So you're representing the same client over and over and over again, which is great, but you're not building your database. So you can't farm your database for repeat buyers, list and buy, list and buy. They refer your friends, that sort of thing. You don't do it with banks. So my database was never built out because I had the same clients for years and years.
Yeah. And especially because you weren't focusing on the inbound buyer leads.
Right. Yeah.
It's an interesting, take on that. And sometimes too, and those that were in the REO space back then, I got in 2011, so I'm the tail end of it, but you knew who did REOs.
Yeah.
And sometimes that branding would put you in a box to where your SOY or people around you may be like, oh, Scott doesn't deal with normal sales, so I'm not going to bother him, right? He is only doing short sales or foreclosures or whatever. Yeah. So you have some of that too, like as agents, we have to be conscious of that, of what are we putting out there to the public, and continuously to let our database know that, hey, we can help you in any aspect of the business. Even if it's a referral fee, right? Like your investor up in Cleveland, right? Like that could easily be a referral fee if you wanted to. Or like sometimes I'll get people like they want commercial. I'm like, I could do it, not my wheelhouse. I don't want to do it, so let me send you to someone.
Yeah.
So Scott, you start building the team. It was really to create that leverage point, to really be able to scale.